Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Everquest Old School. And on tonight's episode, I am joined by...
Thum the Barbarian!
And we are over in Highpass playing with our mains. I'm playing my Cleric, and Thum, of course, is playing his Warrior. What level are you? I think you got a level on the last...
Yeah, I'm level 24, baby. Level 24. Getting up there.
And we're not really trying to level. What we're trying to do is get a couple idols. I just got one. They sell for about 400 platinum. Sometimes a little bit more. Sometimes a little bit less. So we just wanted to get a few of those to kind of bring in a little bit of money and hopefully buy Thum some new pieces of armor. I think you were saying you needed some pants and some boots and things of that sort, right?
A belt, a ringmail cape. Yeah, I got about five pieces of armor that need to be replaced. Both my rings, my cape, my legs, and my belt.
And for my guy really, you know, it's tricky with the Cleric because a lot of the pieces that you can get with the Cleric are really expensive. Mine usually go for about 600 to 800 platinum for the pieces that I would want to spend money on. I could get cheaper pieces, obviously, fairly quickly as well, but you know, if I'm going to buy a piece, I'd rather save up and get a piece that I know that I could stick with all the way to like level 50 or 55 and not have to replace it anytime soon. Like if I could get the golden Afridi boots, those are boots that give +9 intelligence, +9 wisdom, and you're going to hang on to those pretty much to the end of the game. Like even raid gear is not quite as good, if I remember right, as those boots. I remember having a full planar set of gear and still wearing those boots. So
Ooh.
I don't remember what the stats were on the planar gear now that I'm thinking about it, but
Dude, would you go bank?
yeah, I'm gonna do that in a second. Are you done killing everything? Yeah, I killed. As soon as you're done killing everything, I'll go bank, or whenever you think it's good to run back, I can gauge.
All right, so now you wanted to talk about a certain movie on this episode.
Well, maybe not a certain movie, but we were just talking about Flash, guys, and I was thinking about...
Spoilers ahead, guys.
Well, I'm not going to spoil the movie. I'm just thinking, like, as far as movies like that go, what were the ones that you remember as your childhood? Like, the ones that you think back and, like, oh, Star Trek.
The black and white Godzilla movies definitely were... Jason, I remember I was 6 years old. My dad let me watch Friday the 13th, Part 3, or Part 2. The one where at the end he comes up out of the water. The guy falls asleep in the rowboat, and he has a dream that Jason comes up out of the water. I think it was just a dream. I don't think Jason actually came up out of the water. But yeah, that actually scared me so bad I actually wet the bed. And my mom and my dad said I never really wet the bed as a kid. So that was like the one and the only time that I ever did it, because I watched that movie, and it scared me. It scared the piss out of me.
Quite literally, yeah.
Yeah, quite literally. And I remember as an 11-year-old kid watching The Exorcist and being bored and thinking that it was gross and not scary at all.
What, because of the pee scene where they shoot off all that...
Yeah, it was just dumb, man. I mean, I remember watching it. Everybody said it was one of the scariest. I mean, I got all hyped up. It's the scariest movie that ever. 7 people died in the theater is what my cousin told me. Watching it, they had heart attacks because it was so scary. And I remember being bored. Like, this is a boring movie. This is not scary at all. Why is everybody saying that this is such a horrible, scary movie? That's what I remember about the possession, or what was the name of the movie?
I'm going to get back real quick, guys.
Exorcist, yeah, the Exorcist.
Oh, okay.
For me... Not the Poltergeist. Poltergeist was much better than the Exorcist.
For me, my experience with movies was a little different because my parents owned a drive-in and they went to movie theaters after that. So I got to see a lot of freaking movies, and by a lot of movies, I mean pretty much every single one of them as they came out, because that was my babysitter. You know, like that's what I got to do primarily as a kid, is I'd go up there and hang out at the movie theaters after school. So I'd watch them over and over and over again. Some of the ones that I remember the most, the ones like you were saying, like horror movies that kind of made an impact on me, was Night of the Living Dead. They had it wasn't when it first came out, obviously, because I'm not that old. But you know, when it came out, it wasn't as big as a movie as it kind of became later on. So they had like re-showings of it. They would bring it back into the movie theater, and that's when I watched it. It was in the smallest auditorium that they had at the theater, and you know, I remember going up there and my parents being like, "Okay, you know, just like you always do, go out and hang out, and you know, at the end of the night, we'll beat you back up here or whatever." You know, I'd go up there to the office every so often and and just hang out over there with them, and that would let them know that I'm okay. But I was fairly responsible, and they didn't have to worry too much about me. But that movie was off limits, and the moment I got a chance, I snuck into that one. Of course, it was right next to the office, so it was kind of difficult to do, but I was able to manage it. And I sat down in there, and of course, because I waited to sneak into it until the opportune moment, nobody was in there. Like literally, the entire movie theater was empty. And I wanted to make sure that if somebody walked in, they didn't see me. So I tried to hide in like a very dark corner of this very small theater, watching a horror movie at a very young age, and it was just terrifying. That movie scared the crap out of me so much that to this day I still love zombie movies.
People are scary. People are scary. I've never been afraid. The closest I've ever been afraid to any kind of monster was werewolves. I had a thing for werewolves, but it made me love them. But now people, even if they were zombies, supposed to be zombies, it was people. People are scary. Even as a young kid, I knew that monsters weren't real. There was nothing under my bed. When I slept, I liked the room as dark as possible. I was never afraid of the dark, never afraid of monsters. But now people were scary to me as a kid. So that's why that movie was so effective, because it was people. Yeah, there was something wrong with them. They were deranged. Something was going on with these people to make them scary, but they were people, and that's why it was so impressive. That's why it was so, such a fascinating movie to me, is because these are people. They're attacking us. They're trying to kill us, and that's why I'm still fascinated with that movie. That's why I'm such a big fan of zombies and zombie movies, zombie comics. So there you go. That's what that movie meant for me, is because they were people.
Well,
yeah, they might have been,
The thing I loved about that movie more than pretty much any other movie I ever watched was that, of course, it's horror, but in a horror movie, it broke the mold. Like in horror movies,
it was completely different. You're right, man.
You'll see that it's either a guy or a girl or the combination of the two. The love interest that will survive the movie, and everybody else dies. But it doesn't really matter, because the main guy, the bad guy, the monster, Freddy Krueger, Jason, whoever it is, they never die. They always come back, because they're going to have a sequel. And so there's no getting away from that guy. All you can do is postpone your death into the next sequel, which then at the very beginning of the movie, you die, and like your kids are cursed with that,
Did you see Hostel?
No, I don't really like horror movies. Like any movie where they're like torturing people is not a movie that I'm really gonna watch. Like it's just...
Hostel was exactly like that. But that's exactly what you're describing. The guy who survived in Hostel was the first guy that died in Hostel too.
Yeah, it's a it's like what they always do. It's a classic thing. I am back if you want to go ahead and pull. There's two fanatics up. No, there's a fanatic and a soldier.
Okay, well I guess I'm gonna pull anyway.
Let me toss you a heal real quick. But yeah, the reason I like the Night of the Living Dead is not only did it break that stereotype, as in anybody could survive. And of course, I don't want to spoil it for you, those who haven't seen it. It doesn't really have the greatest happy ending in the world, but it shows that as long as you're smart and as long as you're not doing stupid things, you will survive. You don't have to be the main guy. You don't have to be, the coolest guy. You just have to be smart. You just don't make stupid stuff. Like if you'll see them joke about it in horror movies nowadays. We're like, why are we splitting up? Right? It's a dark, creepy house. We should all go our own way and send one guy all by himself into the creepiest dungeon possible. Why are we doing this? Stuff like that. But you didn't really see too much of that back then, and that's why I kind of liked that movie. Is they took a no nonsense kind of approach to it and said, hey, there's monsters outside. Maybe we should just board up the walls and stay inside, right? Like, let's just wait it out. Like, why are we going outside? You see all these movies, especially these end-of-the-world movies now. I think they've kind of got everybody brainwashed a little bit. They say, oh, you got to bug out. Well, that may be true for certain scenarios, but I'm sure there's plenty of scenarios where just staying put is probably the safest one. And I'm going to die here in a second.
It's on it, dude. It's on it.
Let me see if I can root him. I think I might be able to.
Okay. But don't take it too far, because these fanatics are just tough, man. They're a lot tougher than they deserve to be.
There we go. I'm fine now. I'm at 30%. I think we should be good.
Okay.
But I think you see these movies where everybody tries to leave, and the moment they try to leave, that's when everything bad happens to them. So you got to take a proactive stance. I understand. You got to be aggressive and offensive in nature for a lot of scenarios. But yeah, I just this guy's almost dead, but now he's beating on me. Let's see, can we root him? Yeah, he's rooted, so now he's okay. There he goes. Let me heal you up. But I love that one. I love Trimmers. For those of you who have not seen that, that's Kevin Bacon.
The first Trimmers. It even had that redheaded country singer in it.
Reba McEntire.
Reba McEntire, yeah.
Oh my God, yeah, beautiful.
She is beautiful, yeah.
She is beautiful.
Well, but me and you both have a thing about redheads, so.
Well, you know, I don't know if I have a thing about redhead. It just happens to be every woman I've ever dated has been a redhead, and it's not because they have red hair. It just happens to be, you know. It's not something that I look for. I don't be like, oh, you have red hair, let's go out. You know, it just.
I do. I'm fascinated by redhead women.
I mean, you can have any color hair under the sun, and I'd still maybe I should rephrase it. You could have any color hair that's natural under the sun. I'd probably still go out with you.
Pink? You don't like pink and green hair, man?
I don't like anything that's not natural. I want you to be who you are. I don't like women with makeup. I mean, it's not like I won't date you if you're wearing makeup. I will just tell you right off the bat, I think you look better without it. You know, and everybody looks better without it. I think when you wake up next to somebody and they look completely different than the person you went to bed with.
What do you think about a woman wearing makeup? What does that say about? What does that say about women in general?
It doesn't say anything about them.
Isn't it a lie though? You're trying to hide your true self.
I guess in some way, but I mean, it's part of the society that we grew up in. So
yeah,
they're just doing what they've been taught. You know, from like the moment they're born. You got beauty magazines, and you know, if it makes them happy, then so be it. Like that's their thing. They're happy with it.
Maybe they're just trying to accentuate what So
I'm just saying, like my own personal preference. I'm more than fine with them never wearing makeup. So there's women out there who don't like wearing makeup, but they do because the person they're with kind of likes it. But you know, that's just me. I think they look beautiful without it. But you know, I watch movies like Total Recall, and in Total Recall they had like the technology you could touch like the tip of your nail to like a pin, and it would change like the colors to it. I think they did it in Fifth Element as well. She's out there putting something on her nails and changing the colors to it and stuff. I think when they get to that point, it's probably going to be more of like just kind of fun, you know, like you just change the color of stuff. Right now, I see that they almost torture themselves with how much effort and how much, you know, they have to like, and then they got pull out hair all over the place, and it's just like, wow, that seems very, very painful. And I hope you're just not doing it to impress me or on my part, because I don't need you to do that, you know. So that's why I say. But if they're doing it for themselves, you know, I mean, everybody does something to themselves that other people were probably like, why are you doing that?
That's why I went to the gym. I mean, I went to the gym to look good and feel good about myself. So I guess you could say that's a man's makeup, maybe.
Maybe. I mean, you are changing how you look, but
it's not going to happen naturally unless you've got a really hard physical job or anything like that.
I guess
going to the gym shapes your body in a way that, you know, maybe you wouldn't naturally look like.
Well, you would, because it is going natural. I guess the reason I didn't like makeup is that it just seems like you're hiding who you are when you should just be proud of it. You know, like everybody is beautiful in their own right. It may sound stupid to say that, it may sound silly. One of those little
touching.
Yeah. But they are, man. Like every woman I've ever dated has been beautiful, and in their own way. And I don't compare any of them together, you know, against one another. I don't be like, oh, well, this one had better hair versus that one. I don't like, oh, this one had, you know, more beautiful eyes. You know, if you care for a person, if you really, really, truly care for a person, you will find, you know, very beautiful things about that person just because.
And the longer you date them and the longer you're with them, the more beautiful they will become.
Maybe. I mean, I've never experienced that, because I don't date people very often, and I don't date them for very long. So my love life has not been as great as I would like it to be one day. But, you know, to each their own, and eventually, you know, I might find the right person. But, yeah, it's just...
You're not even really looking, are you?
No, not anymore. I mean, I'm fine with the way my life is right now. I got a lot of family around me. I got a nice career. I got you know, a lot of friends and stuff like that. So... You know, if it happens, it happens. I'm not against it. I'm just not outwardly looking for it. Probably for the fact that, you know, it's just so much stuff is going on in my life. I really don't even have the time. If I found the right woman right now, it would probably suck pretty bad, because I wouldn't be able to give her the attention that I would want to. You know,
you need to join a dating service, man.
No, holy crap, no.
going on, dude?
Oh my God.
I can see the benefits to doing that, because if you put yourself out there and you put what you're looking for, you put what interests you have, then maybe 90% of the people who respond to your ad are people who have the same interests, who enjoy the same things. And wouldn't that make for a better match than just trying to go out there and find somebody at random?
Have you seen what goes on those sites? Those sites
No, I
are
haven't. I've
all
never.
about hooking up. And if you're not hooking up, it's about bots trying to sell you hooking up. And yeah, those sites are horrible. You hear about it on the news all the time. People getting killed, and
Oh, Craigslist.
yeah, it wasn't not just Craigslist, but like all of them, man. Those places are freaking nuts. There are some crazy people out there in the world, and it seems like any way they can get to you, they will find a way. And those are sites where they get to. I'm not saying that like everybody's experience with those things will be bad, because I have met people online and playing the game that have been perfectly normal and very enjoyable to hang around with. But I could never see doing those like, because you're talking about online dating stuff, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think I could do that.
Now, why is it that you think that there are less women who are serial killers than there are men?
Less women?
And
I don't believe there's
yeah,
less women.
see, that's what I'm thinking. Are women smarter? Are they more able to get away with being serial killers?
You know, I'm from Texas,
Uh,
and yeah, people can say what they want about Texas, and people can say a lot about it. But you know, we still have the death penalty here, guys. And one of the things you will find is we just don't ever want to put a woman to death. Like, it never happens. And when it does happen, it makes the news, and then of course usually gets overturned and appealed and all this other stuff. There's a psychology to it. Like, guys just don't. At least the majority of the guys that I know of, and definitely the ones that are in the state that I'm in right now, just don't want to do that. So I think, yeah, maybe they can get away with a little bit more than guys can in that regard. But everybody has their advantages and disadvantages to what they are and who they are and where they're at. If you live someplace cold and you are suited to the cold because you enjoy it and you like it, well, you're going to do better there. And I am probably suited to the heat down here because I'm used to it. I've acclimated to it. I've lived here my entire life.
right. Even though you hate it.
Yeah, I hate the heat, but I know how to live here. Like, I know if you're going to be outside, you got to drink a crap ton of water because you're going to be sweating and you're going to lose all that water. You're going to get dehydrated. You're going to get overheated, and then you're going to pass out and probably die if somebody isn't there to take care of you. So you got to do that. You got to stay hydrated. You got to stay in the shade when you can. You need to cover your back with a cloth of some sort so you don't like burn the crap out of your back, your neck or whatever. And yeah, there's little tricks that you can do when you live someplace hot. I've never lived any place where it's freezing cold, so I'm pretty sure somebody who's lived there their entire life and somebody who's suited to it and enjoys it and acclimated to it would be able to do that environment so much better than I can. And like I said,
Now,
it's
how
just
do we get off? How do we get off women's serial killers and to weather, dude? How do we get from
that was supposed to be me being very nonchalant to change the subject from something that was going to get us into trouble into the weather. But now that we're back on it because somebody didn't take the hit,
No, that's okay. I was like wondering. I was like, what's going on?
You didn't see the lines I was drawing. I was trying to be as
But it was just something I was thinking about the other day, man, because I've only heard of one in Florida, but the weather is nice, dude. I just wish it wasn't so cold in the mountains like it is now.
Yeah, you just don't know what you got, man.
It's gonna get colder too, man. I mean, it gets cold.
You got it lucky, man. I'm sitting in a room right now that I can't have the fan on because it makes a noise when I'm recording, and so it's hot. It is hot, and usually nights when I record, like, sweat is pouring down from my face. That's one of the reasons I don't use the cam, is because I don't think you guys would like seeing me just like pouring down sweat on my face. I'm usually still having a good time because if I'm having enough fun in the game, I will forget that I am just sitting in a pool of sweat. Because that's just the way it is. And I do have the AC on, but I can't have it on very high because the airflow comes in here and it makes noise on the mic and stuff. So it's very sensitive. As it is, you guys, at least Thum does. He can tell me he can tell me every single time I scratch my beard. Like, he can hear that.
You got a really good mic, man. I wish I had one as good.
Well, it has its downsides to it.
The mic in this laptop isn't bad though, and as far as you've said, and everyone, it's not great. I could definitely use better quality, but I'm content. I'm able to make videos, and I'm able to share stuff with people, and I like the idea that you were putting across earlier, how my single player videos are like a conversation with people and stuff like that. I like that idea. I just did something horrible. I pressed the Windows button. Oh Lord, help me, save me. Daggone it. Seriously?
Is it gonna ruin your video, man?
No, it's good.
But yeah, that's how I treat the videos, man. When I do them, is I try to think about like what would I say to somebody who's sitting right next to me, you know? Because why not? Like, this is supposed to be a not an interactive experience because we're not doing it live. That would be really cool to one day do that. But
Zone, dude, zone.
two fanatics and one medic, yeah.
Yeah, they're all going to be healing each other, so
Yeah,
that's
that would be a nightmare.
Guys, yeah.
Nightmare of healers. Why can't I tank as well as they can?
I don't know, but we're getting a lot more fanatics, and those are the guys that are giving us experience and stuff like that. But they are tough, man. It takes me a long time to kill them.
This is because you don't have a lot of DPS, but you can tank them like nobody's business.
Or something like that. Yeah, I can tank them, but I wish we had a monk or somebody who could beat them down really quickly.
I think you could eventually, man. I think you're going to get to the point to where you can kill these guys fairly quickly. I think you might be able to get to the point where you can come back over here, within just a few levels, and solo them all by yourself. So let's give it a second for him to pay back. And let me med up a little bit. I am out of clarity, by the way, so power is going to be a little bit harder to come by here.
Disempower. Let's see what that does me. Usually my strength's 159. Now it's 144, guys, because of disempower. So, and my AC's going down. Wow. So that is a nasty debuff, guys. That's a nasty, nasty spell, attack spell that the medics or the fanatics cast on me.
I should be probably curing you of that, but I think all I got is cancel magic.
Don't worry about it.
That would get rid of that.
I mean, my strength's still 144, so we're still good on that. I mean, I'd rather you conserve your mana and save it for heals than debuff.
Now, what other movies did you watch? Like, for me, Logan's Run was another good movie that I watched when I was a kid.
Yeah, Logan's Run was really good. I really appreciate science fiction movies, but I would have to say Alien 1 and Aliens were movies that I enjoyed when I was a kid. Those were good, early 80s. Yeah, and then in the 90s, what is The Fifth Element made a really big impression on me. I love that. That's probably my favorite, one of my top 5 favorite science fiction movies of all time. I would say Aliens. I'm not counting Star Wars. I never count Star Wars. But Star Wars, probably, I'm one of the few people who like Return of the Jedi more than Empire Strikes Back. I love The Empire Strikes Back. Guys, please don't send me hate mail. I love Empire Strikes Back. I love Star Wars, but Return of the Jedi is the first movie that I remember seeing all the way through in the theater as a kid. So that's why it holds such a special place in my heart. I don't even dislike the prequels as much as everybody else does, because I got to see them with my little brother. I took my little brother when he was 15, 16, 17 to see those movies. Me and him got to spend time together. Star Wars, I taught him that Star Wars is a tradition, even though the prequels were not as good as the movies that came after, or the movies that came before. But now we're, because we made that tradition, me and my little brother, we're going to go see Star Wars 7 together, we're going to see 8 together, we're going to see 9 together. And I get to share Star Wars as a tradition down to the rest of our lives with my little brother because of the prequels. Because he was too young to see the original Star Wars trilogy. So that's why I give the prequels more of a break than most people. Though I know that there were flaws. And Jar Jar Binks, Jesus Christ. But
Jar Jar Binks, man, come on. You gotta love Jar Jar.
I can understand the hate and I can understand where it comes from. But they get a pass. They get more of a pass from me because I taught my little brother. It taught my little brother to love Star Wars.
What about
so there you go.
What about movie theaters in general? Because when I was growing up, and I actually worked at a movie theater when I was a teenager going through high school, it was a different experience. Like, maybe it's just because, when you're younger or when you're older, you look back and you're like, oh, well, we cared more and stuff like that. But I remember working at the movie theater, if the screen, if it wasn't focused right, the customers would come out and be like, hey, man, that thing's out of focus, or it's not on there right. They'd be like, there's something wrong with the picture. They wouldn't know how to describe it always, but they would let you know. And then you would go let the manager know, or you just go upstairs and, put it back into focus, because I ran projection as well. So I knew how to do that. But nowadays, the last, I think, half a dozen to a dozen times that I've been to the movies, there's been something wrong with the actual film. It's either scratched up to beyond belief, where they really should have another copy, it was out of focus or it was off the screen, and you'd go and complain because that's what you're doing. You're complaining. You're going and letting them know, but you're complaining. Be
Right.
like, hey, it's not right, and they just ignore you. There was one time I went with two of my brothers, and we were standing in line to buy food, buy popcorn and some drinks because we like to do that while we're there, even though they're so freaking expensive nowadays, which is another reason I don't think theaters will last much longer. But we were standing in line. Some guy came out and he was like, "Hey, the screen's messed up," and the guy just completely ignored him, and it was our turn to go up and get our order taken. And so we're like, "Oh no, this guy can go in front, right? Like he wants to tell you something, right?" And the guy's like, "Oh yeah, I already heard. I never mind, man." And I'm like, "Oh, he wants to let you know the screen's messed up." And he's like, "Yeah, I heard. What do you need?" And I'm like, "Are you gonna, tell a manager? You gonna do something about that or whatever?" And he's like, "No, I'm not doing anything. Dude, what do you need?" And I'm like, "Holy crap, man! How rude
Wow.
can you be? The fact that not only did you hear the guy, but you won't even acknowledge you heard the guy, and then when you finally do acknowledge it to somebody else, you couldn't care less. Like it wasn't like he was being mean. It was like he's heard it a million times before, and he couldn't care. Like it's just
I don't
no
know.
feeling whatsoever.
I've never in my life had an experience like that at a theater.
And it seems like
All
every
my
single
the-
time I go is something like that, man.
only the movie itself could ever give me a bad experience. And I'm the kind of guy, I just appreciate the fact that I'm going to a movie, and then
I
I get
used to feel that way.
yeah. Well, I still feel that way. I just feel like it's a great experience for me. It's fun. It's a happy time. It's a happy place for me.
Yeah.
So I'm always excited to be there, and I've never had. I mean, me and my little brother had to go once because the volume wasn't playing through the movie, and we went down there and complained. They came in, they stopped the movie, they fixed it, they started the movie over again with the sound, the 3D and everything. So they fixed it immediately. So so
That's how it should be. That's how it was for me when I was working there. We'd fix it, and then when the movie was over, we'd be standing at the door holding out like passes or complimentary drink tickets or something
right.
like that. So
Because
the
you
next
wanted
time
to
you came,
return business, yeah,
yeah,
you wanted them to come back, yeah.
and you think they wouldn't want that more because more and more people are buying these state of the art systems at home with surround sound, and you get to do it at home where you can pause the movie if you want to get up, and you don't got to pay $47 for a bag of popcorn.
Is that guy even a manager, or was he just a
No,
worker?
he's just an employee, but
Oh, that's probably why he didn't care then, dude.
yeah, but the guy was like, "Can I talk to a manager?" and stuff like that. I never heard what happened after that because we ended up leaving. We're like that sickens us, and we were like, we're leaving after this, and so we went back and got our money back from the tickets, and we left. Like we're not gonna be there with a company that doesn't give a crap about the customers that are there. Plus, every single time, and maybe it was just the movie theaters that are around here. Every single time we went, either the popcorn was stale, the drinks were flat, the floors were sticky, somebody was talking on a cell phone, babies are crying. It just wasn't that experience like you used to have when you go to a movie. You'd get this wonderful, like you were just talking about, that feeling,
Yeah.
surround
Yeah.
sound, big freaking screen, you get to sit down on these really nice chairs and watch this movie that just came out that nobody else really has even seen. But I don't get that anymore. Every single time I've gone, it has been pretty horrible. And I'm wondering, what do you think? Do you think that movie theaters one day will become like a thing of the past?
If they keep up that kind of attitude, then yes, dude. But like I say, I've never ever had that kind of experience at a movie theater, and I hope that I never do, because if I went to a place once, I'd give it a second chance. I always give it a second chance. But if it happened to me again at the same place, I would never walk in that theater ever again.
Yeah, I'm not talking about just one theater. That we have hundreds of theaters around Houston, so
And they're all like that.
every single one that I've been to lately in the last, I don't know, 2 years or something, has always had something wrong with it.
That
You
just
know?
makes me sad, dude.
Yeah, me too, because I remember how great they used to be, and definitely doesn't feel that way anymore. And like the reason I bring it up is because, like I said, so many people are creating home entertainment systems, in like a dedicated room. Like they're actually building dedicated rooms in their houses that have, the big screen
Well, you
and
can
the
buy a movie. Yeah, you can buy a movie off YouTube now, man. You can buy a movie off YouTube, and if you've got an HDMI cable, you can hook your computer directly to your TV.
Yeah.
If it's HDMI capable.
And that
you
movie-
can stream a movie live off your computer. So the theaters need to step their game up, because it's an institution that I believe in, and I certainly don't want them to fail or go through. I want to continue going to the movies, because for me it's an experience. It's something that I truly enjoy. I love to be at a theater. I love the popcorn. I love getting me a medium Coke with a medium popcorn and just sitting there and just having an experience.
Yeah,
And that,
I just don't
so,
see it, man. I really don't see, because like you said, with like Netflix and stuff, there's even places out there where you can get a movie that's only been out for like a couple months, if even
no,
that.
no.
And so at some point,
Eventually, the people who are making the movies are going to catch on and be like, "Hey, let's just sell our movie to YouTube because we're going to make
or
as
Netflix
much,
or
or
whatever.
yeah, we're going to make as much, if not more, than what we could make by renting them out to the theaters."
Yeah, and you don't have to
So,
share any of the profits with
right, with the theater
the
companies,
theater
right?
companies.
Yeah,
Not that they really ever did. When a movie first came out, it was like a 99% split in the company of the movie theaters view, and only after it's been out for so many weeks that it would drop down to a more manageable. They make all their money at a movie theater from concessions,
concessions, right?
which is why the bag of popcorn is $87, and it seems like they've lowered their standards with what is acceptable as far as like what they're willing to do. And we made popcorn early in the morning. Every time I got there, on the opening shift, we'd have to spend like the first 35 minutes, 40 minutes just making popcorn for the first showing of people. Now it seems like it's all stale. I've even heard of some companies bagging their popcorn in trash bags, saving it for the next night. Sometimes, if they're not busy, they save it for several days in trash bags, and then just dump it out there in the morning in the popper, and make it look like it's been there. And you can taste the difference. And if you're going to pay that much for a bag of popcorn, you don't want it to taste like that. Plus, you used to get like free refills on popcorn and drinks, and now you never get refills on any of that stuff. So, holy crap, I'm only at 40%, man.
Oh, we're good, dude. These guys are green, every one of them.
Okay, let me sit back down then.
If I can't annihilate these guys, then something's wrong.
But you guys at home will have to let me know. What do you think? Do you have good experience of movie theaters recently where you live, or have you had bad experiences as well? I thought maybe it was just all theaters had been going down, but if you say, the
Oh no,
ones where you live,
yeah, the theaters around here are on their games. They're clean. They clean them in between breaks, between the movies and stuff like that. And the only time we've ever complained, they've made it right immediately. So that's the experiences I've had in my neck of the woods with movie theaters.
I think we need to zone this, man.
Okay, let's do it then.
Let me heal you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, holy crap, I'm at 17%. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Oh!
Yeah, that was a little too many. I think there was like, 5, 6 guys there? But, yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and end the episode here if you want to do your...
Hi, Draw Sync, guys. Hit that like button, guys. It directly supports us. It allows more people to see the video. And if you share it with your friends, that also brings more attention to our channel. And that's a way that you can directly support us, guys. And that's the only way that I'm asking that you directly support me, our AC Gamer, is, take the time to hit those buttons. It really helps us. And thanks for watching, guys.
Subscribe.
We'll catch you next time.